Nigerian football is facing what some people have described as a growing crisis, with setbacks across the men's and women's game. The Super Eagles have missed out on 2 consecutive FIFA World Cup tournaments, while the Super Falcons have now failed to secure direct qualification for the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil. Nigeria's struggles have also extended to the Olympic Games, with poor performances in the last 2 games. I believe the men didn't qualify for the last 2 games, while the women were beaten black and blue in the last Olympic Games, while the country's men's youth teams continue to miss out on FIFA World Cups. At home, the domestic league remains hampered by limited television coverage and sponsorship. And with the Nigeria Football Federation elections approaching, questions are mounting over how to reverse the decline. Our guest tonight is former Gombe State Football Association Chairman Ahmed Gara-Gombe. He joins us from our Abuja studios to examine the state of Nigeria football and what needs to change. Alhaji Gara-Gombe, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And let's start by asking, is there a crisis in Nigerian football, in your opinion?
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your invitation to be here for the very first time, to be on News Central, and you guys are doing a great job. It's an honor to be with you.
Thank you, sir.
Secondly, yes, it is no longer news that every year, every election year in Nigerian football is a crisis year. So this one is not different. And the issues being that when we fail to address the problems, we kept on postponing the resolutions of these problems. And every other stakeholder, all other components in Nigerian football that are fueling or are contributing to the mismanagement, to the crisis in Nigerian football, we fail to tell ourselves the basic truth to fix it. When we are winning matches, everything is fine. When we lose a friendly game, it's a big problem. And also, in as much as we kept on measuring the performance of our football, the stability of our football, the efficiency of those managing our football on our qualification to major tournaments, particularly the World Cup, we will continue to get it wrong. Anytime we don't qualify for a World Cup, we call for the head of the leaders managing our football. To do well in a World Cup takes a lot of things. There are certain components, there are certain characteristics, or there are certain things that need to be done before you get to the World Cup, and not only going to the World Cup, but to do very well. In as much as we close our eyes, we refuse to address those issues. We are only after qualification, and we want regime change at every given time. Change the leadership of Nigerian football 1 million times. In as much as we don't do the basic things, the right things, we will continue to have problems, we will continue to have issues. This crisis will continue to be.
Interestingly, sorry to cut you short. So from what you are saying now, the problem with Nigerian football is not a leadership problem. That's what you're saying. It's a systemic problem.
Exactly.
So if it's a systemic problem, is it not the leadership that will correct a systemic problem?
Come again, please.
So if you say it's a leadership problem, is it not the leadership that will fix a systemic problem? You said it's not a leadership problem, it's a systemic problem. But is it not the duty of a leadership to correct the systemic problem?
This leadership, they don't fall from heaven or from Mars or Jupiter. They are with us, they are part of us. If you talk about qualification for the World Cup, there are other presidents or leadership of Nigerian football that had failed to qualify us for the World Cup. That is why I've been saying, this time around, it is not different. The people who are managing the football today are Nigerians, just like those who managed it yesterday. And people kept quiet. They did not call for their head. But suddenly, they found their voices. Everybody is coming out now calling for the head of the present leadership. And that's where I differ. So to answer your question, it is systemic. Like I said, there are so many other things that come to that efficiency or that are fixing that systemic problem. Now, take, for instance, the supervising authority. Who is the supervising authority of sports in Nigeria, which includes our football?
That's the National Sports Commission. Yeah.
In the last 30, 35, 40 years, we have been jumping from sports commission to ministry, sports commission to ministry. Where do we get the stability to fix anything? That is number one. Number two, the National Assembly has an oversight function. They kept quiet. They are not doing their job. And because football is the only sport in Nigeria that is established by the Act of Parliament, which is the NFF Act. If the National Assembly are serious, they are doing their job, they will keep on scrutinizing that act, fixing it, look at the imperfections there and fix it, listen to stakeholders and fix it. In the last 4 or 5 years, I do not think the National Assembly bothered to hold or to organize any public hearing to listen to that particular act. But we have been hearing, we have been listening, we have been seeing them fixing all sorts of other institutions in Nigeria, reviewing their acts and everywhere they are doing. The Nigerian Football Association Act is as important as any other act because it affects Nigerians. Now, take for instance, we have been talking about the composition of the Congress that is small, or some people have been disenfranchised. Fine. Nobody said the composition of Congress is okay. Before now, when Sani Lulu, who happens to be the first person to revise the Congress to reduce, to shrink the number of the Congress, he did that on personal interest. And since then, the number of Congress is not enough to reflect the generality of stakeholders in Nigerian football. But we are getting it wrong. The Ministry of Sports, two ministers that I know set up committees to reform football. And one of the components of that, their TORs, and also the recommendations is the review of the status and also the review of the Congress composition. The Congress composition has to start from the National Assembly. That is where the review the act first.
Okay, so if I get you correctly, I do recall that former international Segun Odegbami says he is going to approach a court of law to have that, do I say the Congress, the composition of the Congress reviewed, saying that as it currently stands, the current delegate structure favors incumbents and makes it difficult for credible candidates to emerge. But I also have on good authority that you counter that. You are not happy with what he's saying that Odegbami's move is being motivated by, I quote, personal interests rather than the broader development of Nigerian football. So if somebody is seeking to change this, why are you against it?
Good. I'm so disappointed in Chief Segun Odegbami, with due respect. I'm so disappointed. Yes, Chief Odegbami has given everything to football in Nigeria. But for him to talk about going to court, that is archaic. It's outdated. Nobody goes to court to stop NFF elections in Nigeria has succeeded. Almost every election in Nigerian football, you have one stakeholder going to court and he doesn't succeed. I have all the court rulings and judgments that that were passed or rather by the courts. It does not work. So when you keep on going to courts and it does not work, what are you supposed to do? Odegbami is supposed to know more than anyone else that that is not the path to follow. And that's why it is, I say it is selfish interest. The same Odegbami or the same composition, or rather the same electoral codes, or the same status and process that he is complaining about, he went to contest election under and lost. I, Gara-Gombe, was the person who endorsed his form. When even Gateway Football Club and Ogun State Football Association refused to endorse him. And because the rules or the requirements is that you must have endorsement from at least 2 FA football associations from each of the geopolitical zones. All the way from Northeast in Gombe. I endorse him because I respect him. I respect what he has done. Ogun State FA did not endorse him. Gateway did not endorse him. I endorsed, but he went a little last. So, as at the time he was contesting, is he saying that what he is canvassing for now is not necessary? It is now that he wants to promote or to push or to truncate the transition in Nigerian football. All right, Gara. How can Udeba be called for Mr. President to intervene?
Gara.
Again.
Gara, let me just.
Sorry, let me make this point. Let me make this point, please.
Yeah.
What is Odebami's primary constituency in football, in Nigerian football? His primary constituency is the Players' Union. The Players' Union has been in crisis for over 30 years now, if I'm not mistaken. 20 to 30 years, if I've been mistaken. Let him go and fix Players' Union where he belongs first, his primary constituency, before he comes to talk about fixing or going to court or asking President to intervene.
All right, Gara, your point is noted. I remember how you fought, tooth and nail to ensure that the Congress was not shrinked and all that, but eventually, like you alluded to the fact that for personal reasons, Alhaji Sani Lulu, had his way, and here we are. But I want your opinion about this. Towards the 2006 World Cup, during the World Cup qualifiers for the 2006 World Cup in Germany, late Alhaji Ibrahim Galadima, made an infamous statement that the World Cup was not our birthright. We failed to qualify for that World Cup, and really a lot of things played out, and he didn't return to the glass house as it was then known. And now here you are, and you are saying that if the leadership fails to qualify us for the World Cup, that it's not a big deal. That should not translate into agitations for change. How do you situate these two scenarios? That Alhaji Ibrahim Galadima lost his re-election bid because we failed to qualify for the World Cup, and here you are saying it's not a big deal. A lot of people will say it's double standard.
Especially now that we have 9.5 or 10 countries from Africa qualifying for the FIFA World Cup, which should ordinarily make it easier.
Okay. You see, during Galadima's time, the situation was different than now. When Galadima was in office, he had a bad media. So the media were on his neck after making that statement, simply because it was Galadima who removed Swan representation from the board of Nigerian football. So they are not the best of friends. That is number one. Number two, unfortunately for him, as at the time late Galadima made that a statement that the World Cup is not our birthright, he was reacting to so many things that have been said about him, about Nigerians not qualifying for that World Cup. Of course, it's not every country that must go to the World Cup. How many countries do we have in Africa? 53.
54.
Even when they are increasing the number. So when you think that Nigeria is planning to go to the World Cup and we are not doing the right thing, the system is faulty, and we couldn't qualify to go to the World Cup, and the next thing we get up, we said the leadership should go. Now, that is one side. On the other hand, the present leadership in Nigerian football are not the first leadership or board that failed to qualify us for the World Cup. The Amaju Pinnick also qualified was one and failed to qualify the second one. The noise we are making now is nowhere near, or rather the noise we made then is nowhere near the noise we are making now, for whatever reasons. I have seen where even editors gather themselves to issue a statement. I've seen where stakeholders from different angles talking about it. Now, this time around, I kept on saying, it is not that if you remove Gusau today, then you are very sure of qualifying for the next World Cup. Just like after Amaju Pinnick left, we are not sure of going to the World Cup because most of the coaches that took us through the qualification, all the players that took us through the qualification did not come during Gusau's time.
Okay, Mr. Gombe, thank you very much. I think you've made your points known in the fact that we have systemic issues. I think in all your submissions, you've been making it really clear. And you have said that, you've also alluded that it's not even the leadership that can change the system. So how can the system be changed? Because we want to hold the leaders accountable. We believe that the leaders can change the system. So if someone that is in the position of leadership cannot change the system, how can the system be changed? Because it seems like you're also alluding that we should not accord blame to any of the people in power. So what can be changed so that things can be different for Nigerian football?
Look at the constitution of Nigeria. It is still work in progress. We're still amending our constitution to insert things that need to be there and to remove things that don't need to be there, or to amend things that need not to be there. The first step is for the National Assembly. National Assembly, I am putting it to them. I hope they are watching us. The National Assembly to amend that NFA Act and begin a transitional process of abrogating the NFA Act completely and hand over the administration and management of football completely to private sector. Everywhere in the world, sports, including football, it is a private sector affair. That is the step number one. I say transition. I don't say just come today and abrogate it, no. A transition with a program that, okay, in the next 4 years, federal government will no longer, or rather the taxpayers in Nigeria will no longer pay to manage or to fund or appropriate funds for football. It's handed over to the private sector. Secondly, we should try to address the trust deficit. There is serious trust deficit between the corporate society and Nigerian football. Anything you talk about Nigerian football or sports is about corruption. We need to change that perception. We need to dilute that stigma that people in football or in sports are just corrupt people, so that the corporate world can come back. Look at Central Bank, Shell, Glo. All these are some of the major sponsors of football before, but they are still existing. I don't see a reason why we would not put efforts to ask them to come back and support football. Number three, we go back to the states. I said it. What stops from the National Sports Commission today, or the National Assembly Committee on Sports, jointly to go and address the Governors Forum, the Nigerian Governors Forum, and tell them, look, sirs, or your excellencies, 18 of you here own football clubs, or almost all of you own football clubs, depending on which division they are, and show them the economics, the figures, the commercial benefits that they are going to benefit when they hands off in a transitional way. I have been in Kano as advisor to to the governor of Kano State on sports. Kano Pillars was under me. If you see Kano Pillars budget in a year, it's that time, that's around 2014, 2015, Kano Pillars budget is more than 600 million. Tell me, if you put 500 million as an investment to capitalize Kano Pillars, by now, 2026, it could have gone far. Number four, infrastructure. Look at what we are doing. Today is a shame, Nigeria, we only have one stadium that is qualified to host FIFA and CAF game. What will Apabio Stadium in Uyo? Today, if you don't have Uyo, we end up going to play in Ghana, like many other countries. 6 countries that I know, or 4, are playing in Morocco as their home grounds. So, what happened? Most of these states, they have resources to develop and build world-class stadium. Moshood Abiola Stadium here in Abuja was downgraded by CAF from level 4 to 1, meaning it's 0. It's not there. Some people collected money from Dangote that they wanted to upgrade it. What happened to it? So we must invest also in infrastructure. 5, we must also tell these governors to divorce politicians from coming to take positions as chairman of FS or league. I have seen a state where somebody who campaigns seriously with the governor, at the end of the campaign, the governor asked him, what do you want? He said, just give me chairman of the football club, or I want to be chairman of the FA. Because it is more or less like an opium of the masses. If you see the kind of money that is going through these clubs, wasted, that are going to private pockets, you feel sorry for us. Another thing, the education, fans education. The fans need to be educated about rules. Every day you see our football crisis, hooliganism, and all sorts of things happening, teams being fined, teams being banned, the points being deducted, but nothing has changed, and I can tell you, nothing is going to change. Again, professionalize refereeing. Go to refereeing officiating now. One of the major problems is the refereeing. Since when did you see a Nigerian referee officiating even in African Cup of Nations? So we have to professionalize referee. The woman, one of the women that from Morocco that is officiating in CAF matches, she is a commissioner of police in Morocco. If you have a medical doctor or MD of a company that is doing well and is a referee, will you go and entice him with 250,000?
No.
No. So we have to professionalize referee. Then lastly, about security. Our police and security agencies are not really well schooled on and trained on how to. Even if in their training school they have curriculum or they have been trained on how to control crowd or repel a protest or whatever, they need to be trained on how to handle football fans. You see a policeman who goes to provide security in a football match venue. He doesn't have a headgear and just carrying maybe a button and a tear gas. When there's a problem, instead of him to use intelligence and other forms of crowd control, he used the last resort, which he throws in tear gas. That brings confusion. So I can go on and on and on.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure you can go on and on, Alhaji Gara-Gombe. Yeah.
Over a period of 5 years.
But before we are hard pressed for time, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. But before we go, I really need to ask you this question. A lot of people are calling for the head of Alhaji Guzo, who is the president of the Nigerian Football Federation. We here have it on good authority that he wants to return as president of the Nigerian Football Federation for another 4 years. Do you agree with this? Do you think he has the capacity to run Nigerian football for another 4 years, or do you think he should be replaced? Very quickly, sir.
Let me tell you, people are underrating Gusau. People are underrating this man, I'm telling you. I'm not his campaign manager. First, it's his right to contest elections and to return. When you listen to him one-on-one analyzing football, analyzing situations for you, you will doff your heart for him. The only thing is that because he is not like the other one, who can come to TV stations and make noise and say he's the live president of Nigerian football. Gusau is a gentleman. But when you listen to him one-on-one. So I think what we should do, if we really love, is to find a see where one day bring this man to this station.
We will.
Engage him and see how he is going to analyze situation for you. So in terms of capacity, as an individual, he is very intelligent, he is analytic, he has an analytical mind. Then what I'm saying is that when the other person did not qualify us for the World Cup. We didn't say anything. We were quiet. Why is it that this one, because he didn't qualify us for World Cup, we are saying he should go? Is it the kind of dress he wear? Is it the geography of where he comes from? Is it the type of God he worships or what? I have seen so many people who lost their voices. Now they are talking. They don't know that it's all personal interest. If you like, bring FIFA to come into our system to say they will manage our football. There is tendencies that they cannot qualify us for the World Cup.
Okay, Alhaji Shuaibu Gara-Gombe, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Well, to see you actually. This is the first time you're on the show. Hopefully it won't be the last, because you always say it as it is, and it's been an honor and a pleasure listening to you. And hopefully the Nigerian Football Federation and the sporting authorities have been listening to you as well. Nigerian football really needs a reset, and it needs to start now. Thank you so much for your time, Alhaji Shuaibu Gara-Gombe. Gentlemen, we're hard pressed for time. Thank you. Thank you so much.